Present.
Mr. Toller,
Here.
Ms. Abrams,
Here.
Mr. Westmoreland,
Present.
Mr. Duncan,
Here.
Mr. Anthony,
Here.
Mr. Moore,
Here.
Mr. Piazza,
Here.
Ms. Dominguez.
Present.
All right, Mr. Anthony is going to lead our opening ceremonies this evening. Mr. Anthony, you want to open us up with the Pledge of Allegiance? And
Yes, please. To recite the pledge, I'd like to call up Kinley Anthony. Kinley is a fifth grader at Martha Vineyard and also a member of the Beta Club. Kinley's always been a very good student. She's always made straight A's except for one little B, but we're gonna fix that, right?
Hey, you
she's
told
also-
everybody.
That's right. No, it's okay. We're going to fix that. And she's also very special to me because it's my youngest daughter. So, Kinley, you can start whenever you're ready. If y'all can please stand. Thank you. Thank you. All right, and for the we have a patriotic song being performed by Emily Villars. She is a senior at Ponchatoula High School and a member of the All-State Choir. Thank you very much, Emily. I'm going to stand one more time, please. I'm sorry about that. Whenever you're ready. Thank you very much for that. That was a really nice rendition. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, our next item on the agenda is to consider approval of the board minutes from our meeting of Tuesday, March the 5th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Is there? All right, motion is made by Mr. Toller, seconded by Mrs. Dominguez. Bear with me just a second.
Voting is now open.
Yes, Miss Cindy.
Yes, Miss Cindy.
Yes, Miss Cindy.
Yep.
We're having internet problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, so it's not just me.
Nope.
Everybody have an internet problem?
Make anybody come up. Yes for me.
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody votes yes.
Yes.
All right, hearing no opposition, the motion is agreed to. All right, next item on the agenda is to consider board minutes of Friday, March the 8th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So
Make a
moved.
motion to approve.
Motion is made by Mrs. Dominguez, seconded by Mr. Piazza. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion is agreed to and the minutes are adopted. All right, the next section of our agenda is our awards and recognition section. And I wanted to point out to our audience that there are three portions of this part of our agenda. I am going to move one out of order briefly, so we're going to come back to the Student of the Year section. But what I would ask you to do is, until we complete this portion of the agenda, we would ask that everyone stay and participate respectfully. When we finish the portion of the agenda that is our awards and recognition section, so that after we have heard from Mr. Dominic, after we've heard from our students, presented the Students of the Year, and after we have recognized our Middle School Support Staff Employee of the Year, once that portion of the meeting is complete, we will take a 5 to 10 minute break. That is the time period that if anyone does not want to stay and listen to the remaining part of our exciting meeting, you will have the opportunity to step out and take pictures and do whatever. But if you would, please make sure we get through at least those three portions of our agenda before we start doing that, okay?
But if they leave, they're missing the audit.
You're missing, yeah, all of that stuff. So, all right. So just slightly out of order, we will bring forward Mr. Joey Dominic. He's the director of our Florida Parishes Juvenile Detention Center. Mr. Anthony has invited him to our meeting. Mr. Anthony, did you want to do anything else or to recognize him or?
Yeah, Mr. Dominic, he and I met 2 weeks ago during Tangi Leadership. We had the opportunity to go tour the Florida Parishes Juvenile Detention Center, and I've been raving about it ever since. It's not like it's a really fun place, but Mr. Dominic runs just an incredibly tight ship. It's spotless. It's well maintained. The students are, I guess students is the right word. Is that okay?
I call them kids.
Kids, okay. The kids are treated with dignity and respect, but at the same time, the officers there and Mr. Dominic and his staff command respect in return. And I was just blown away by how well the facility was run. And Mr. Dominic will explain the rest, but ultimately, we do have a tax renewal coming up, and I urge everybody here to please consider that renewal. Mr. Dominic will go into and explain why he thinks it's needed. But furthermore, I did want to add that this is a renewal. It's not a new tax, so it's not going to cost you anything extra. And without this facility, God only knows what we would do in that instance. And then one more important note is that the students at this facility get a high school diploma, not a GED. They get work-related training and things like that and certifications. And Mr. Dominic can explain the rest. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Does this work? Okay. First, I want to thank the board for having me here, and I also want to extend my congratulations to the Student of the Year as well as the Employee of the Year. I'm a bit, I guess, taken back and not exactly happy of having to come in front of you. Not because of any bad work or anything like that, but I wish I didn't have to. I wish that I didn't have to operate the facility that I do, and that might sound kind of odd to the folks behind me and to you, because this is my livelihood. For the past 28 years, kids and law enforcement have been my life's work. But in choosing that profession, I want to do it the best I can, and I want my staff to do it the best I can. And I got to say, in the words of my HR director, she always wonders why I say they don't have to have any experience when we hire them. And that's because we want to teach staff to be productive and positive role models for kids. And we do it a very unique way. And what do I mean by that? Well, there's about 600 juvenile detention centers in the country, and only a handful of them do business the way that we do. And what do I mean by that? Well, we run a very different model than what you would see in detention centers across our state and across our country. We participate in an organization that measures the variables of detention and how well we respond to those. And as a result of that, We've been a national award winner in 2016, 20, and 23. And that was for improving the conditions of confinement for kids. But not so much about the accolades. I'd also like to extend my hats off to you and your staff. If the folks behind me don't know it, the Florida Parish Juvenile Detention Center is a Tango Parish school site. We have teachers that are employed by the school system, and we are thankful for that. They come out every single day and do very difficult work because it's a very difficult population to work with. Not that we work with bad kids. I tell folks all the time that we don't have bad kids. We just have kids that sometimes do bad things. And we got to get them back on the right track. And the teaching staff out there, the staff that work there, do their very best at doing that. And before I close and open it up for any questions that you may have, I just want to share that recently we just started our own robotics program at the detention center. And that may not sound like a big deal to some because that happens in a lot of school sites. But it's a very big deal for us because it's the first robotics program of its kind or at all in the entire United States. And I believe in doing things out the box and doing innovative things with kids. I've got kids that are out there right now learning how to code robotics. And that's a career path, as you know, with STEM. Also, just to kind of cover who we take in, these are kids that have committed sometimes violent felony offenses. Sometimes they're accused of committing misdemeanors and felonies. But we're the only placement space for kids that come crossways with the law. And what do I mean by that? Well, kids can't go to adult jails. They can't go to adult lockups. That's state and federally prohibited. We're a regional detention center that not only serves Tangiboga Parish, but also serves St. Helena, Livingston Parish, St. Tammany, and Washington Parish. And we're funded by a tax millage that needs to be renewed every 10 years. And in January, we made our 30th birthday. So that tax has been renewed for the past 30 years. Without the detention center in place, there's no place for kids to go that are arrested. And some people may think, oh, well, the state will step in or somebody else will step in. No, they're our kids, they're local, they're our responsibility. Detention centers across the state do not take kids from outside their area, and we're no different. So if the detention center tax didn't pass, we could operate for about maybe a year or so, and then we'd have to shut the doors. And if we shut the doors, the scary likelihood of that is that kids that are accused of violent felonies would be issued a summons, and then the court would cross their fingers that they show up for court, and they would go home. Because that's what happened before the detention center was created. But it's not about just locking up kids. It's about giving them an opportunity for success and helping them become productive members of society. And the detention center has a great record of doing that. We're not the center that you read about in the paper or that you see on the news where kids are running away or where kids are hurt or abused by staff. We run, like Mr. Anthony said, a very tight ship, and we've got a great track record of that. And so with that, I close asking for you to consider a possible resolution of support for our center and its tax. And now I'll answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Dominic, when is the election on the renewal again?
Next month on April 27th.
And when is the early voting for that?
I'm sorry, sir, I don't have that information,
Okay.
but I'm suspecting it's about a week or two prior.
All right. Well, look, I will, I'm a big supporter of the detention center. I've worked in juvenile court for almost 20 years, and so I certainly know the value of that detention center and to our community. I will personally make sure that we get a resolution drafted and brought to the board for our first meeting in April. And I'll try to, once I get it drafted, I'll send it to you to take a look at.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Any other board members have,
I was going to ask Mr. Dominic to tell us, I don't think that you went over, tell us all the certifications that the kids there can receive, just right before you go, if you don't mind.
So back in 2019, one of the things you have to know is that when kids are adjudicated delinquent, which is the word for convicted in the juvenile world, the judiciary, the judge, can place them in what's called the Office of Juvenile Justice's custody. That's the state of Louisiana. And when kids are placed in their custody, they can be put in non-secure, like group home or secure placements across the state. But the judiciary also has the option of putting them in a public or private institution like the juvenile detention center or local placement. So in 2019, I noticed the bottleneck of OJJ kids remaining in our detention center waiting to go off. And anybody who's a practitioner knows that the research shows if you keep kids close to home where their families are more likely to participate, their likelihood of rehabilitation and success is that much greater. So we started a post-adjudicated program for kids to actually be placed in our custody. It's a 15-bed program, and in that program, as you heard Mr. Anthony say, we help them get their high school diploma, not a GED or high set. Once they get their high school diploma, I have a partnership with North Shore Technical College, and we work with them on vocational certifications like OSHA 10, OSHA 30, precision instrument measurements, personal protective gear. I actually have a kid, the first in history with the detention center and the first in the state working work release, learning how to install automotive glass at a shop in St. Tammany Parish. He leaves us 3 days a week and he comes back 3 days a week. And he's got enough money saved up in his bank account right now to purchase him a vehicle when he leaves. Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you again, Mr. Dominic. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to work our way up. The next item of the agenda that I'm going to call up is to recognize our district middle school support staff employee of the year, and I believe Ms. Reed is going to handle that.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me? Good evening, Board President, Board members, Superintendent Stilley, and audience members. This evening, I am so elated to stand before you and recognize this very special employee. That special employee that I am referring to is Dolly Brumfield. Ms. Brumfield is a school food service technician assigned to Amy Westside Middle Magnet and Roseland Montessori Cafeteria South. When I heard about this nomination, I knew exactly who would embody a support staff worker such as this and who would check all of the boxes for this nomination. She is considered one of the mother figures of our kitchen. Ms. Dolly, you were first hired in this district on August 20th, 1973. Your director was not even born yet, but we would meet in 2013 when I came to the district as your supervisor. I can go on and on about Ms. Dolly, but I won't keep you. One thing for certain is that she is dedicated not only to her job, but dedicated to her students. In addition to her cheerful disposition, any task that she is given, she is more than willing to help out and get it done by any means necessary. But do not let Ms. Dolly's years of wisdom and knowledge fool you, because she can move and glide through our kitchens while multitasking many other duties, and that is because of sit-resistant shoes. She has gone above and continues to go above and beyond in her job. Again, thank you for all of the hard work you put in for our students as well as our staff. There aren't very many people that can do what you do and how you've done what you have done. So on behalf of Tangible Parish School System, I would like to recognize you, Ms. Dolly Brumfield, by presenting to you this plaque for the 2023-2024 Middle School District Winner Support School Food Service Support Staff.
Good evening, and thank you all for being here today. I am honored to be able to announce the Student of the Year winners. This is my favorite meeting of the year. It's always exciting to see these students and think about the wonderful things that they're going to do in our parish. So we're going to begin with the 5th grade. From Amy Westside Middle School, Ayana Day. From Champ Cooper Elementary School, Henry Walters. From Chesbro Elementary School, Amari Wilson. From Greenville Park Leadership Academy, Yadarius Riviera Rosa. From Hammond Eastside Magnet School, Chloe Wright. From Hammond Westside Montessori School, Jaira Garcia Espinosa. From Independence Leadership Academy, Carbon Bowens. From Laranja Middle School, Faith Ellen Danielle Anstis. From Lucille Nisa Memorial School, Zane McClary. From Natalbany Middle School, Karen Figueroa. From O.W. Dillon Elementary School, Stephen Steele. From Roseland Montessori School, Kinsey Crotwell. From SOU Lab School, Claire Bennett. From Spring Creek Elementary School, Kinsley Harriman. And from Martha Vineyard Elementary School, not only a school winner, but also our district winner, Lance Fraser. Congratulations to all of these 5th grade Student of the Year winners.
Are we close enough yet?
For our 8th grade Student of the Year winners, from Amy Westside Middle School, Layla Dillon. From Champ Cooper Elementary School, Aiden Herring. From Greenville Park Leadership Academy, Lanija Brock. From Hammond Eastside Magnet School, Riley Fleming. From Hammond Westside Montessori School, Victoria Boast. From Independence High Magnet School, Josie Carrion. From Kentwood High Magnet School, J.C. Eugene. From Laranja Middle School, Benjamin Parker. From Lucille Nisa Memorial School, Selena Williams. From Natalbany Middle School, Precious Cote. From Ponchatoula Junior High School, Madeline Roquin. From Roseland Montessori School, Morgan Matheny. From Sumner Middle School, Andrew Marcus. And from SLU Lab School, not only a school winner, but our 8th grade district student winner, Eliza Kate Hauser. One more big round of applause for our 8th grade Student of the Year winner.
Nice job.
And finally, for our seniors, our 12th grade Student of the Year winners. From Amite High Magnet School, Kalia Tobias. From Independence High Magnet School, April Flores. From Kentwood High Magnet School, McKaylee Hambry. From Laranja High School, Madison Nicole. From Ponchatoula High School, Gregory Sean Hubbard. From Sumner High School, Breland Bridges. And from Hammond High Magnet School, not only our Student of the Year at the school level, but at the district level, Christina Lee. And a final round of applause for these seniors who are representing us greatly.
Channel 17, proudly serving the Florida parishes.
The next item on our agenda is the presentation of a proclamation declaring the month of March Music in Our Schools Month. And Ms. Fussell will be presenting that to us.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. And I would like the board to know that we have planned to have a presentation on our new programs. As you know, one of the initiatives has been to expand music in our elementary, middle, high schools, and this year particularly we have a high school band director at every high school. There was a conflict with a few of our people who would be presenting, so they're going to come in April. So you will have actually some of our new programs playing for you in April. But I wanted to read the resolution tonight. Whereas for more than 30 years, March has been officially designated by the National Association for Music Education as Music in Our Schools Month, encouraging communities across the nation to focus on music education. And whereas music education is part of a well-rounded education for every student as outlined in the Every Student Succeeds Act, and whereas the purpose of this celebration is to raise awareness of the lasting positive impact of music education on the academic, personal, and professional growth of our students, and whereas music education shapes the way our students understand themselves and the world around them, allowing for a deep engagement with learning, and whereas Music in Our Schools Month reminds us that school is where all children should have access to music, and whereas music educators, students, and communities throughout Louisiana demonstrate the importance of quality music education programs to the lives of young people, whereas the state of Louisiana joins our music students, educators, and communities in celebrating the power of music education, now therefore be it resolved, the Tpss Parish School System does hereby proclaim on March 19, 2024, March as Music in Our Schools Month, and encourages our citizens to celebrate and acknowledge every day, but especially in March, that music education is an essential part of every student's well-rounded education, and especially thank you to our teachers who teach music in our schools every day.
Thank you, Ms. Fussell. Is there a motion at this time to adopt the resolution?
So move.
Second.
Is made by Mr. Piazza, seconded by Ms. Robin Abrams. Is there any discussion on the resolution? There is no public input requested on the resolution then. We'll call the question, ask members to vote your devices. Okay.
Yes, Miss Cindy.
I mean, I'm in, but it will pop up to vote. Okay.
Yeah.
Voting is now open.
Yes, Miss City.
Yes, Miss Cindy?
Yes.
Yes. Nothing coming up.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, there being no objection to the resolution, the motion is adopted. Our next item on the agenda is to consider or to receive the presentation of our 2022-2023 year-end audit. This year's audit being done by the outside auditing firm. Well, Mr. Jim Tonglet is here to present, correct? And he is with the firm Erickson Krentel. As you're coming up, just for the public's benefit, those that are watching at home, there are multiple steps throughout the year wherein the board makes efforts to be transparent with our financing. Some of those things we do as a board on our own initiative. Some of them are done required by statute. That process starts each year with the presentation of our budget. Just for the public's benefit, every year that I've been on the board, and I think for many years before then, this school system has won awards after awards for the way in which our budget is presented each year. After the adoption of the budget, our board also receives that budget is published on our website and available to the public throughout the year. You just go to tangischools.org, go to the department, our finance department, you'll find each of those budgets for multiple years back. Then each year we do financial reports that are presented at a public meeting. Each month we do monthly financial reports. Those reports are also published and made a part of our minutes for the general public to review at their convenience. We also do a general check ledger that is also reviewed each month and made available to the public after it's reviewed by the board. Finally, at the end of the year, we retain an outside auditing firm. This year, Erickson Krentel is doing the audit for us, has prepared the findings of those audits. We'll review those tonight, and then those findings will also be made available to the general public on our website, and is also sent off to the legislative auditor for review. So that's where we're at tonight, and we welcome your presentation.
Thank you very much. Again, my name is Jim Tonglet. I'm a partner with the firm of Erickson Krentel. With me is Mike Caparata, a senior manager in our audit department, and we are here tonight to present the audit results for your year ended June 30th, 2023, which we just recently completed that audit. So I do have you all have this presentation, I think, printed out.
We do have a printout.
Yes. Okay.
And then we also have it up on the board.
There we go. That's it. That's the page. So this page kind of summarizes the results of our audit, the scope and the conclusions of the audit. So we audited your June 30th, 2023 financial statements. We completed our audit and issued our report dated January 31st, 2024 with an unmodified opinion on your financial statements. And that's also what we call a clean opinion. That is the opinion that everybody that undergoes a financial statement audit is hoping for, an unmodified or clean opinion on your financial statements. It essentially means that your financial statements are fairly stated in all material respects and in conformity with U.S. generally accepted accounting principles. A lot of accounting jargon to basically say that your financial statements are clean and in order. And that is the opinion that you're looking for, that everyone is hoping for when they undergo a financial statement audit, and you certainly earned that. We conducted our audit in accordance with auditing standards, various auditing standards, Louisiana Governmental Auditing Guide, government auditing standards, uniform guidance, which is a federal guidance that governs how we audit your federal funds that you expend from the grants that you receive, and that's part of this audit as well. We also prepared reports on these two separate engagements, agreed upon procedures engagements that are smaller in scope, less in scope than the overall financial statement audit, but required by the Louisiana Legislative Auditor, required by Bessie. So that's the scope of what we're presenting tonight. So provide just some summary information. You all have that in your packet. It's reflected, it's just summarized from your financial statements. Your total assets on your governmental funds, $358 million, total liabilities of $217 million, a total fund balance of $140 million. So a healthy financial position is the takeaway that I kind of want to get for you. Provide this graph that shows the growth in both your revenues and expenditures on the governmental funds. Revenues are growing, maybe not so quickly. Expenditures are possibly outpacing them. There's many factors, inflation, maybe special projects that you are involved in, but you see that interplay between your revenues and your expenditures. And the third chart that we have in here is a breakdown of your total fund balance. I mentioned it was $140 million. There are various categories of that. A lot of it is restricted because of fixed assets, other reasons that you have that money committed. It's restricted to be spent a certain way. So that's not spendable on anything. There's other categories of that, committed and assigned. They're less, those are designations that maybe you all voted on to commit or to assign your fund balance, but they're not restricted by a tax or by certain law or other thing prohibiting the expenditure of it. And then, of course, there's an unassigned portion of it. That is your unrestricted, unassigned fund balance. So I'll move through the results of our audit, the other reports that are part of our audit. So we provide several reports in addition to that audit opinion that I mentioned. And we focus on internal controls. And so there's several reports where we communicate that. This one that summarizes, this slide summarizes our report in accordance with government auditing standards, where we consider your system of internal control over financial reporting. And we perform tests of the school's system's compliance with certain provisions of laws, regulations, contracts, grant agreements, where non-compliance might have a material effect on your financial statements. So that's what we're looking for. So the results of those tests and reported in this report did not identify any deficiencies in your internal control system. I want to make a point that in your prior year audit, there were a couple of findings from prior year that have been resolved in this year. So those are not repeated this year, and there are no internal control findings. Last year, you had a compliance finding. There was one matter that you had that you were not in compliance, but that's been resolved as well. And we note those things, those instances where you rectify issues noted in the prior year, we note that in the current year audit. There was one matter, the audit was reports filed late. Various factors play into that. That is a very correctable thing, and it will be corrected going forward, but we noted that in the reports. The next page focuses on uniform guidance, and it's very similar. It's a report on internal control, but focusing on how you spend your federal funds, the grant programs that you get, and you all get a sizable number, sizable amount of federal funds, and the federal government has specific compliance requirements, and we test your compliance with those requirements. So we perform tests of the school system's compliance with those requirements described by the federal government compliance supplement, and that could have a direct and material effect on the major federal award programs. The results of our test did not identify any deficiencies in internal control or any instances of non-compliance with your federal grants. So certainly that's a clean report, again, on how you spend your federal funds. I mentioned a couple of agreed upon procedures engagements. The first one is required by the Louisiana Legislative Auditor, and it looks particularly at your policies, procedures, and some control items. It changes maybe from year to year, looks at certain areas, and it asks us, it's not an audit per se, it's specific procedures where they ask us to maybe pull a sample or to look in your files or to compare your policies and procedures to best practices. And so it's a number of procedures. Well, we noted no exceptions to those procedures that the legislative auditor asked us to perform, and that's reported in that report. And the final one is the BSEE agreed upon procedures. And again, that's specific procedures that BSEE requires us to look at. And we noted no exceptions there either. So all of those are various control and financial reporting matters. And so no issues there reported. So we are responsible, we have to provide you with a letter, which we will, communicating our auditor responsibilities, and those are summarized here on this page. You can certainly read through them. I won't read through every bullet point, but our responsibilities are essentially to provide a reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free of material misstatement. That's the goal. That's our responsibility, to make sure that we perform an audit that reaches that conclusion. And that's what most of these bullet points summarize, is the steps that we have to take to get to that point. So the last, kind of one of the last ones are the significant matters that we have to communicate to you. And so these are all good because they're negative assurances. There's no material illegal acts that were discovered. And let me say one thing about that. A financial statement audit, by its nature, is not a forensic engagement. It is not designed specifically to uncover or root out fraud. Sometimes that's a misconception. But one of our responsibilities is that if something came up in the samples that we tested that we felt was fraudulent, we would bring it to your attention. Well, nothing came up that we felt we needed to bring to your attention in that regard. There were no new accounting policies that had any kind of material impact. There were no transactions that lacked authoritative guidance or consensus. You all are not taking chances and out on a limb and how you account for things. You're doing things by the book. We encountered no difficulties with management in performing the audit. When we asked for support for transactions, it was provided. It all was done very professionally. We had no disagreements with management about any of the financial statement amounts or any of your accounting policies. And management did not consult with other independent accountants during the course of our audit. So those are all good, I guess, clean assurances that we provide to you. We need to communicate the significant audit matters, the significant estimates affecting the financial statements, and various estimates that go into the financial statements. They surround collectability of receivables, depreciation expense, and the very large number of the net pension obligation and other post-employment benefit obligations. Those are all estimated numbers, and we have to consider those and understand what goes into those estimates, and those were all fine. The disclosures are neutral, consistent, and clear, which is good. You want your footnote disclosures to explain the financial statements. That's it, and that's a 30,000 foot. I ran through this document, this very large document, very quickly. We certainly would entertain any questions if you have them. We also are available for questions or to research any matter as you go through any of these documents and you come up with questions after the fact. We can be reached, and we'll take a look into our files and get an answer for you and get back to you. But I do appreciate the help of Jeff McNeely and his staff and all of you. And we appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight to present the audit results to you. But that is the summary of the audit.
Thank you, sir. Does any board members have any questions?
Can I ask one?
Mr. Anthony?
All right. Don't laugh at me when I ask you this. It's a serious question. But any skeptics in the public that could say something along the lines of, hey, well, we handpicked a public accountant to do this audit and paint a pretty picture. Can you explain maybe why that wouldn't be possible for us to do that?
Yeah, our audit, and part of what we explain in all of this is we have to follow certain rigorous standings. And one of the things is that we have to take a step back and exercise what we call in our profession professional skepticism. So we can't just take at face value the information that you all provide to us. Here's our financial statements, just bless it. We really take serious our obligation to assess risk over these financial statements, and then from that risk assessment, look at the areas that might materially impact your financial statements and test them. And when we ask for a sample of transactions, we want to get the support, and we want to trace that through your system. So we don't just take face value. We actually drill into the items that we select. And again, we don't look at every transaction. It's a random sample size across your financial statements, focusing on your material areas, but it's a random sample. But we do it's our responsibility and our reputation to do a pretty thorough job of looking into this. And it's not, our job's not to just bless your financial statements. It's to perform an opinion on those financial statements.
And to report that to the legislative auditor. And in a way, the legislative auditors, we pay you, but the legislative auditor is really your client.
That's exactly right. We submit it to the legislative auditor. You all submit these documents to various other entities, BSEE and the GFOA, which is the Government Finance Officers Association. So there are many more eyes on these financial statements than just Erickson Crentel's. And so we certainly are not here to just bless those financial statements.
Any other questions from the board?
Just one statement. Just goes without saying, if you look at that revenues, expenditures, it is a little eye-opening to see that our expenditures have the same trajectory up. Our revenues have the same trajectory flat. Now, I'm not a CPA, but that just leads to disaster whenever your expenses keep going up. But anyway, I'm sure that's something that we're looking at.
Well, I certainly want to thank you and your firm for your work. Also, want to compliment the superintendent, our finance department, all of those folks. I've worked with a number of governmental entities. Having clean audits like this year after year is no small feat. It's not everybody, not every governmental entity gets these types of clean findings, and so the fact that our department does that and does it again year after year after year is certainly a testament to the work that they do. I will tell you, this particular year was a little bit more concerning for me because we did have so many additional funds coming in from the federal government and other type of grant funding type things that had lots of strings attached, lots of rules that we had to follow, and so I was a little bit nervous whether we would be able to meet all of that criteria as well as we did, but I'm glad to hear that it's all worked out well. And again, so just appreciate all of that work and thank you for that. Again, for the general public, all of this will be reported to the legislative auditor. All of this work gets put, I believe, on their website. It also gets put on our website. It's available for the public to review along with our other findings. I don't think there's any action that we have to take on this. Do we need to vote to receive it or make a note that we've done anything? No, I didn't think so. All right. Thank you again, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on our agenda is to consider the Capital Outlay Committee of the Whole report from March the 5th, 2024.
So moved.
All right. There's a motion by Mr. Toller to adopt that report.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Dominguez. Any discussion on the motion? There's no public input on the motion. We'll call the question. Are we still having internet issues?
Yes.
Is there any objection to the motion? Hearing no objection, the motion is agreed to and the report is adopted.
There it is. Working. Oh, it worked.
Oh.
Yay, we got it. Yay.
Best way to make it work.
Yay.
Y'all can click your buttons if you want.
We said yes.
Yes for me, Miss Cindy.
Yours still wasn't
Yes,
working.
for Anthony.
Oh, wait.
Close it here, right?
Y'all let me know
Voting
when
is
you're ready.
closed. Motion passes unanimously.
All right. We're going to call out of order another agenda item. We're going to call up Action 5E, which is to consider approval for the district to administer a student survey or a survey to students, parents, and employees for their input on the student dress code policy. Mr. Piazza, did you want to present this? I have your name on it.
Sure. So, as the chair of the Vision and Strategic Planning Committee, I know dress code is going to be on the agenda soon. And our due diligence to make sure that we hear everybody's voice and everybody's concerns on the dress code and potential policy changes or revisions. I've spoken with the administration and now are coming to the board to present a survey to be sent out to students, staff, and parents of high school grade children in our system. The survey will outline a few questions about our current dress code and outline a few selected questions on any suggestions to maybe some future revisions to our code. So I'm come to the board and ask for our permission to go ahead and look over this survey, and then once approved, send out to our staff, students, and parents of high school students across the parish.
All right, and members, y'all should have received, I believe, a draft of that survey earlier in the week.
Yes.
Thank the administration for their help in putting that together. And if y'all are ready at this time, I will receive a motion to approve the proposed survey and direct the administration to send it out. It's my understanding this will go out within the next couple of weeks, with the hope being that it'll be. Go ahead, Ms. Stiller. You want?
Once the board approves it, we can actually, if you approve tonight, we could send it tomorrow. We have it ready to go.
And then it'll be available for 3 weeks?
Right, we would leave it open, the rest of this week, next week, and then close it the week of April the 8th. I think April 8th is the deadline that we give them, about 2 weeks.
And once adopted and submitted in, we would like to come back to the board with our findings at the vision and strategic planning to use this as a data process for our future revisions or regular dress code.
Let's go ahead and get a motion on the table then on whether we want to approve and authorize the administration to send this out, and then we'll have some additional discussion. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion is made by Mr. Toller. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Foltz. All right, Mr. Anthony, you had some comments or questions?
Yeah, I guess my question, I don't know if this is to Mr. Piazza or to administration, but just hypothetically, if this thing comes back and 80% of our respondents say they are not in favor of keeping our current uniform policy, does that mean we take their recommendation? Excuse me, does that mean we use that information and make a judgment based on what they say, or can we still leave the uniform policy in place? Or do y'all have any idea how we'd handle that? If the overwhelming majority of students, for example, say they prefer not to have a uniform style dress code?
So I'm gonna go ahead and answer that one. When looking into this process of potential issues or potential revisions of dress code, we look to our neighbors who have done so. It was a very overwhelming thing when we first looked at it. When we got with St. Tammany, their big thing was, hey, we sent out a bunch of surveys to our stakeholders. Our stakeholders are who we represent, not only our students, but our parents and staff. So therefore, I personally feel, and I think administration echoes that we need their say in what we're doing inside of the schools, and that's what this survey is going to do. Now, as far as what that data brings, I mean, that's up to the board. It's a committee, just like anything. It will make its way to the board, but really we're using this as a data collection to see what our stakeholders feel about our current dress code, the future of that dress code, and what some revisions we may be open to moving forward with it. So really, it's a data collection. It's not agreeing that we have to change it. As a board member of any of our districts, y'all have a free will to say no to anything. It's really just the data to get the input from our stakeholders across the parish, and both our staff, students, and parents.
And so, Mr. Anthony, I'll respond. I think it's a good question and it's a good point, because as we send this out, I do think it should be clear, particularly to our students, that this is not a vote. You know, they're not going to the polls to cast a vote that they're going to bind this board to. You know, in fact, you know, in the 12 years that I've been on this board and I've voted in favor of various dress code policies, I've always voted under the assumption that probably 80% of the students do not like that dress code, but we still do it because, you know, it's what we think is best for the district or for the schools. But, you know, look, it is particularly if the board is considering any sort of possible dramatic change to the dress code, I would say that it's a positive step to send something out there, get some feedback, but then, yeah, it's just received as feedback as we go through the process of ultimately making a decision. It's not the only step that we will take to gather feedback. There's going to be the Vision and Strategic Planning Committee will have a meeting on this. The Policy Committee will have a meeting on this. We normally also convene a stakeholders meeting made up of assistant principals, parents, and teachers to come in and actually have a meeting about this. All of those things are going to take place before we actually arrive at any sort of policy changes that this board will consider.
Can I add one more thing too? I'm sorry, Mr. Anthony. The reason why we also are trying to get this done as quick as possible for the survey is that's going to outline our future dates for that committee to hold stakeholder meetings here. It's going to determine a lot of the different dates because we're trying to get this done well before the end of school. That way parents can know what's going on in the coming months in summer. Because I know last year we kind of got hit pretty hard on this board for a mid-year or mid-summer change. We want to make sure we get ahead of this, get it done for whatever may come down the pipeline in dress code.
Did you have some? Any other discussion or questions on the motion? Mr. Anthony? Yes, sir.
Quick point and quick question. All right, I do want to ask, what is the method of delivery? Is it going to be all email?
Yes.
Okay, because I do want to point out, if you don't have a multifaceted method of delivery, we're going to be targeting people that open their email and take surveys. That could be 10, 15% of the student body, student population, so the results therefore can be skewed. And that's really all I have. I was going to make another point, but I don't want to beat a dead horse, but just want to make sure that while their opinions, the opinions of our stakeholders are important, unless we're sure we're getting an overwhelming majority of our stakeholders to take this survey, we kind of need to take it with a grain of salt. So that's all.
Mrs. Stilley?
I was going to say, typically we email it to all the email addresses, and it's not just students, it's also families and employees. And so I think it would be important to weigh in all those views, you know, when making a decision like this. But secondly, we can post it out on Facebook and social media. So there could be some people that could take the survey that way that, you know, may miss it by email.
And I'm also hoping that in addition to this, for more data collection, we would have a public input hearing at the Vision Strategic Planning. So if you don't open an email, we can advertise as an administration to come to that public forum and vote and pretty much vocally confirm what we're asking in this survey as well, Mr.
Like I said, there will be multiple ways in which we are gathering input on this policy, just like there are with you know, other policy decisions that we make. I think Ms. Stilley, I know you had said we could post it on Facebook, but the way that these have gone out in the past via email is, I thought there was technologically there was a way to protect, to make sure that the respondents were actually part of the various stakeholder groups. We didn't want just like general public folks to just from Arkansas to be able to take our survey. So you have to respond via your link, and then not that there's anything wrong with folks in Arkansas. Yeah, you know, but I think that was part of the like, I know I got one earlier this week actually, and you had to open it from your email, and there was a code you had to put in to make sure that you actually were a stakeholder or something like that. So, all right, any other discussion on the motion? I don't have any public input to consider. So with that, we'll call the question, ask members to vote your devices, hopefully.
Voting is now open.
Yay, Miss Cindy.
I will comment, Mr. Duncan, I've already voted, but what you said, probably 80% of our students are going to say, I don't want to wear a uniform, so, you know.
I go in under that
You can
assumption,
expect that.
absolutely.
If not more.
We have,
Voting is now closed. Motion passes unanimously.
we're going to come back to our Discipline Review Committee appeals in just a moment. Before we take those up, we'll go to our general updates from the superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We have just wanted a few announcements. One, Easter holiday starts next Friday, March the 29th, Good Friday, and our schools will be closed the following week, the first week in April, and will reopen on April the 8th. And lucky us, there's a solar eclipse on the day that our students are coming back. We have sent out guidance to principals and teachers around this, administrative staff around this, but you know, we went further than that. We actually held a Zoom conference call with all of our principals, because you know, we wanted to make sure that they read the information that was sent out, because it is, you know, our priority is to keep our students safe and our employees safe. So we have communicated that guidance out, and we have activities for some of the high school students with protective eyewear, and our curriculum facilitators are working with the schools on what's recommended and what's not recommended for that. So that's going to be the first day back from the Easter holiday. Then we'll have our testing that will begin, and you know, unlike when I was a teacher and principal, we had 1 week that everyone tested in the parish. So now the testing window, because students are taking their test on the Chromebooks, there's a larger window of time, and so that will begin after Easter and will run right up until about graduation time. So speaking of graduations, our high school supervisor they put together some guidance for our graduations, and I know that some of you have received some emails from particular individuals asking questions about, can this be done or that be done? So that guidance is will be shared, and I'll make sure that I send that to the board for you to look at as well. But it's just so that we have 7 high schools. We just kind of want to make sure everybody's kind of doing similar things and allowing the same thing in that area. And I also wanted to say I had an opportunity to meet with our new sheriff last week, and we had a great meeting, and we're planning many meetings to come to coordinate and work together on working with our students and with, violence in the community and then also in our schools. So it was a very productive meeting. Also, I wanted to say today is Toot Your Horn Tuesday.
Okay.
And our very own Miss Cindy Jenkins was tooted today. It was on our social media, and they came and they came here, I believe. And so Miss Colette Talion, the ones of you who may know Miss Colette Talion, this was her brainchild, was to celebrate our district people that work every day behind the scenes, making things happen for kids in our district. And so today, they came and celebrated all the work that Miss Cindy Jenkins does for us, for us, everyone here. But I think you're the 4th one, so we're relatively new with this idea. The first week, they were celebrating Miss Jill Foster, who is works with our curriculum facilitators across the parish. Miss Carmen Brabham was week 2, and she works with our early childhood programs and early interventions for students. Miss Kendra Reed, who was here tonight, was celebrated the 3rd week, and she does our school food service, child nutrition, and then, of course, Miss Cindy Jenkins. So I have a little small story. I had an early call with Miss Jenkins this morning, and she kind of sounded, down. She didn't sound too great, like, I thought something was wrong. And then later in the morning, I talked to her, and she was all up and excited. And I said, and she says, I was tooted today. Well, I didn't really make the connection. And then she explained to me what happened. So those little things do really make a difference in our staff. And I want to thank Ms. Colette Talion and also Ms. Dina Spears, who came up to do that today. Thank you.
Yay, Cindy. Yay. Well deserved. Mr. Duncan, could I ask Ms. Silly, so you're talking about the calendar, so we're not having a meeting on April 2nd, we're having a meeting on April 9th, is that right?
I think that's
Correct.
And then, are we having the meeting the very next week, or are we going to skip to the 23rd?
We built the calendar out earlier this year.
The 9th and the 16th.
Yeah, whatever we announced, I think, is it the 16th?
Yeah.
Ninth?
Well, it's just 2 weeks in a row, I didn't know.
Yes.
Because we have 5 Tuesdays in April, that's why I was.
Yeah, we're doing it 2 weeks.
Okay.
You wanted to stay on schedule.
I believe, I remember that. Yes, ma'am. All right.
Well, while you're on that, that 16th is the night that I'll be at the Board of Directors for LS School Board Association. The 17th is the Capitol Conference, so, I mean, I'm hoping
Are you
that-
not going to be here on the 16th?
I won't be here on the 16th.
Oh,
so I
that's
have to
dress
do
code.
that.
I was going to say, we're particularly going to do, not just dress code, but beards and, beards and skirts. Beards and skirts.
I have to go to that
All right,
LSBA stuff, but the next day, I'm hoping y'all will come to the Capitol. I mean, I don't know who's registered, but I hope y'all will come to the Capitol.
All right, we're going to go on. We have I'm going to skip over one more time, and then I promise we're going to come back and get everything that's on this agenda. But I want to go ahead and bring up Miss Shalitha Foster. She has some general public input. Is she here still? Yes. Ms. Foster, I believe you had asked to give us some general public input regarding transportation, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't really know. I've never had to fill one out before, so I could have.
You filled it out well, and we're calling you up. Just want to again remind you of the rules that you had. Did you have a chance to review all of the rules in there?
A little bit. It really was just like a personal situation that happened to me. I thought I would be able to speak to someone. I didn't realize.
Well, then
that
let's do this. We're going to pause you. I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak to someone privately first.
Well, I've talked to 2 other ladies already, which is why I checked that on there.
Did you speak to Mr. Jinko yet? Not about the problem. Because if it's a personal thing about, that you want to get
I need to
addressed,
talk to him.
I'm not, we will still do it. I'm gonna
Okay.
give you, I'm gonna set it on, I'm gonna hit the pause button. We're gonna take up some other business.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you talk to Mr. Jinko. After you talk to Mr. Jinko, if you still wanna do your public input, then we'll receive it, okay? Sound good? Thank you, Ms. Foster. This is Mr. Jinko. He's gonna talk to you in a minute, okay? So let's go on to board member comments, starting with Ms. Dominguez.
Well, as you all know, we just had our wonderful Louisiana State School Board Association conference. We missed Robin. Robin was busy doing Italian Sicilian Festival. Well, we sure missed you, and Mr. Duncan wasn't able to attend, but the rest of us went. We got a lot of CLU, so Ms. Cindy, if you'll make note and make sure that all our points that we have to have were registered. I did slide over in the seat to the past president. I'll still be a part of the executive team and still be, we have a great group that make those decisions that affect all of the parishes across our state. But it's been a blast. I can't believe 15 months went by so fast. I really enjoyed it. But I do want to remind you guys, legislation is not appearing to be good to education for public schools. So we'll be sending some alerts. Please be aware, if you get an action, call to action, please reach out to the legislators because they're making decisions to change things. The governor has requested a lot of things that are going to affect Louisiana, and one being the ESAs, the vouchers, and also the select and non-select for high schools. So I need y'all to really be diligent and reach out, and if you have any friends in other parishes, please let them know as well. So again, thank you for the fun time this year and helping support me as your president for the state.
Thank you, and congratulations again. Mr. Westmoreland.
Yes, good afternoon. I'd like to give a shout out to Ms. Dolly Broomfield and to all the support staff that we have in our schools. We appreciate everything that you do each day. I'd also like to shout out to Mr. Joey Dominic, who is the Florida Parishes Director. I think they do an excellent job out there, and I certainly will be voting to renew that tax because without that facility, we don't even want to think what our Florida parishes might be like. I'm also looking forward to receiving the monthly reports as we pass the capital outlay minutes. I think Mr. Duncan had requested monthly reports on different projects going on in our parish, and I look forward, and I know several other board members would like to receive updates on those each month so we can keep them on top of what we are building and where we're at in each of those facilities. So thank you.
Mr. Piazza.
Gotcha. Keep this short and sweet. Congratulations to all of our award winners tonight, especially Ms. Dolly for her service, as Mr. Westmoreland said. Our support staff doesn't get a lot of praise throughout the year. I want to thank them for extremely what they do. It's a very thankless job. All the students who received the awards tonight, that's hard work, and I'm so happy to see that we get to dedicate a night to really reward those who come in here and do what we ask them to do every day and go above and beyond that goal. I think I said it in front of Mr. Jinko a few minutes ago. That's what it's all about, guys. That's literally what it's all about. To see all them kids in the audience, that's really what it is. And so as we go into our Easter break, be careful when you come back. Hopefully you eat a good breakfast so we can get some good test scores back. I know everybody's excited to take tests when they come back. So thank y'all, and till next time.
Ms. Abrams, the excellent festival engineer.
Oh,
Just
yes.
got through with
We
it.
had a-
Congratulations on a wonderful festival.
We had a great Independent Sicilian Heritage Festival, thanks to all of our hardworking board members in the town of Independence. I want to give a shout out, if you did not get to see the WGNO information that went out, our college and career program, our broadcasting class, partnered with WGNO, and they used the Sicilian Festival as their project. And the WGNO reporters and camera crew came out and let our broadcasting class actually be hands-on with the equipment and to do interviews and to learn how to interview people and how to use the camera, what lighting they needed to use. They went and toured the WGNO Center. So it was really a good thing to have. They did interviews on each one of our programs at the College and Career Center. So they did it on the EMT program, they did it on the forensics program. It was something about each one of our programs within the school system. And it aired on WGNO during the prime times of their newscast. So it was really something amazing to happen. A bunch of the students came to Independence and interviewed our mayor during the setup of the festival. And I just want to say how wonderful it was to work with Michelle Gatos and her team there at the school to really let everybody see the gym that we have in Independence and what we can accomplish if everybody just puts their minds to it. Congratulations to all of our students of the year, all of the winners. We know that you are going to go places beyond your expectations, and we wish everybody a happy Easter.
Mr. Moore.
Okay, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I want to congratulate all of our outstanding students who received awards tonight, and to the staff who received awards as well. But I want to extend that to all of our outstanding students, because we have a parish full. We've got 20,000 of them, all of them distinguished in their own right. I want to encourage everyone to get out and vote for that, for the extension of the taxation for the Florida parishes juvenile detention center, because it does a lot more than the name sounds like it does. They are pretty focused on helping our kids.
Mr. Anthony.
Thank you. I'd like to start by publicly thanking Rose for a great conference and for 2 years as president. Has anybody else done 2 years in a row? Probably one of a kind, of course.
Long time.
We assume that. Right. Congrats to the executive team for a perfect audit. I mean, that's a lot of money to have 0 mistakes. So thank you, Mr. McNeely, and to the executive team. A big congrats to the students of the year, Miss Dolly for her 50-plus years of service. Want to thank the young lady who sang the national anthem. I thought she did a great job. To my daughter for reciting the pledge. And I want to echo what Mr. Jerry said. Y'all, I don't like paying taxes. I don't like it at all. But that place deserves every penny. I can vouch for that. I was there 2 weeks ago. We spent a half a day there. Just completely impressed. So I do encourage everybody to support that renewal. Doesn't cost you anything extra. It's just a renewal. And last but not least, happy Easter to all the students, parents, and staff members, and enjoy your break. And we'll see you after the break. Thank you.
Ms. Richards.
Thank you. First of all, I've just got to say, give it to Ms. Cindy Jenkins, because she just takes care of this board, and personally, me. Also, I'd like to say congratulations to the students of the year. I know that's extra hard work, and they all look so nice coming out, and we appreciate all that they're doing and the families for encouraging them. And to Miss Dottie Broomfield, we're proud of her and all of the years that she served us and our children. One other thing that I'd like to say is, I have to say this because I made a mistake. I hadn't been on social media today, so I missed it. I have to say happy birthday to our principal, Miss Baptiste, up at Kentwood High School, because today is her birthday, so I missed it. Also, I'd like to say to our new Kentwood High School head coach, Coach Blunt, we're so proud of him, and we're looking forward to what the new year will bring in. And he's been there. He's an alumni of Kentwood, and he knows the pressure that it means to win at Kentwood. So he's got a lot of weight on him right now. So we're asking for the community and everybody to support him, and to everybody, a happy Easter.
Mr. Toller.
Yeah, I too would like to congratulate Coach Blunt. His daughter and my daughter played together on softball team. He has been a good friend and a good employee, obviously, but I'm tickled to see what he's going to do at Kentwood High School and continue the tradition of winning football. And he's also a great mentor for students.
Yes.
You know, so it's a win-win for all of us. Students of the Year, congratulations, well deserved. This year, my daughter Darby was in one of the top finalists at Roseland, and what really impressed me was during the process, and for those that don't know, that the schools go through a lot of process. They interview and they compare notes, and they do, but the three girls that were the top three finalists worked together on their interviews, worked together on their dress, worked together, they coordinated stuff, and that really impressed me more than anything. You know, besides, Morgan Matheny was the winner, and could not be more proud of Morgan, but all three of them, in my part, were winners because of the work they put into their prep, and to see my daughter practice and rehearse the interview was really impressive. So also want to comment, make sure Mr. Terry's got us working on some RFQs for some other projects that are coming up. I appreciate seeing those things moving forward. And then last but not least, the conference. When people see us going to conferences, a lot of times they just think we're going to get away for a weekend. It was a lot of hours of sitting in classrooms. One of the things, my big takeaway, Rose, was, and her name slips me, but the lady, the red-headed lady, for lack of a better word. But the classes on social media and, finding a balance with our students on social media and leaving a good digital footprint in life is something that we all, as adults and students, need to learn. So I'm looking forward to more education sessions from her, since she is a local person, because the topic is so important and spot on for 2024. So thank you.
Great. All right, so at this time then, I will receive a motion to enter executive session to consider the possible Ponchatoula High roof litigation, as well as to consider our student appeals of the Discipline Review Committee to the alternative education site.
So moved.
A motion from Mr. Piazza to enter executive session to consider those agenda items. Is there seconded by Mr. Toller? Is there any opposition? Hearing no opposition, the motion is agreed to. We will enter into executive session.
Channel 17, proudly serving the Florida parishes.
This time, the board is returning from executive session. I've received a note from administration that the public input request that we received from Ms. Foster has been resolved privately, and she's withdrawn her request for general public input. On board actions related to the discipline review committees, the appeals from the minor child TL, the minor child RS, and the minor child BS. Those appeals that were on the board agenda, the administration has confirmed that they received proper notification and an opportunity to appear this evening for their appeals to be heard. Those families did not appear despite receiving proper notification and an opportunity, and therefore their appeals are denied and dismissed. Related to the appeal request of the Discipline Review Committee for the minor child KP, the board has heard that appeal, and I will receive a motion at this time to uphold the Discipline Review Committee's recommendation, but with minor modifications. Is there such a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion is made by Mr. Westmoreland, seconded by Mrs. Abrams. Is there any objection to the motion?
No.
Hearing no objection, the motion is agreed to, and that is the finding of the board. On the matter that was heard in executive committee session related to the possible litigation related to the Ponchatoula High roof, is there a motion to adopt council's recommendation?
So move.
Second.
A motion is made by Mr. Piazza, seconded by Mr. Anthony. Is there any objection to the motion? Hearing no objection, the motion is agreed to. And I don't believe there is any other, there are no other matters to come before the board. Therefore, this meeting is adjourned.